Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to create an anonymous chat room using PHP, MySQL, Bootstrap, and JavaScript with the help of ChatGPT. Let's jump right into it. So I've written a fairly straightforward prompt. I would like to create an anonymous chat room using PHP, MySQL, Bootstrap, and JavaScript. No user authentication or login required. The only thing stored in the database are the messages from chat. There should be prevention of XSS or SQL injection. I would like the styling to be reminiscent of a classic Unix terminal. Generate the code for me. All right, let's take a look at what we've got. So ChatGPT complied with our request. So for the database structure, we're going to have a single table called messages in our SQL database. We're going to use prepared statements to prevent things like SQL injection. For the front end, we're going to use Bootstrap for responsiveness and basic styling, along with our custom CSS to make it look like a Unix terminal. We're going to use JavaScript to pull messages periodically and display them in the chat window. On the back end, obviously, we're going to use PHP for accepting messages from the user and writing them to the database while retrieving messages from the database to populate chat history. So this first piece here is creating both the database as well as the table. This is our main index HTML or the landing page. This is our styles.css, which contains the styling for things like the terminal window and the input area. This is our JavaScript, which handles the fetching of the messages from the back end. It looks like we're doing this about every 2 seconds. This is the actual fetch PHP script. Now, obviously in a real life scenario, we're not going to be using a root user and we are going to have a password. But for our purposes, and this being a local environment, this is just fine. And our send PHP, which is actually for sending messages to the server when a user enters text into the chat. Let's start by building our database. I'm going to copy this. Now I'm using XAMPP for Windows. And essentially what this is this allows me to run a local development environment. I'm running an Apache server with a MySQL database. If you'd like to know what this is or how to install it, let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to make a future video. For now, I'll drop a link in the description and you can check that out if you want to follow along. But I'm not going to get too much into those details for this tutorial. So for now, I'm just going to jump right into PHP-MyAdmin. I'm going to go to the SQL tab and I'm going to paste in the query that was created by ChatGPT. And again, this is going to create the database called chatroom and a table called messages. And this table is going to include the content of the actual messages as well as a timestamp. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click go. And we'll just confirm we created our chatroom database. I can see the messages table as well as the 3 columns. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our code. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy index.html. I'm using Visual Studio Code for this, but you're welcome to use any code editor you want. So I've already created a folder called the non-chat. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new file called index.html. I'm going to paste in the code created by ChatGPT, save it. I'm going to create our styles.css, paste in the code, create our JavaScript file, create our fetch.php, send.php. Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load this in the browser. All right, we've got this little text box down here at the bottom of the screen, and this is our chat window. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type a message. Great. So we've got the green Unix terminal style text. Got the nice black background here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to adjust this. And as you can see, we have the responsive design, which is provided by Bootstrap. Everything conforms to the screen size. All right, everything's looking pretty good. So that didn't take us very long at all to build. Now, this is obviously a very simple chat application. There's definitely some areas for improvement, but we had a very straightforward and simple prompt, and we were able to stand up an application very quickly. Now, obviously, when you're working with server-side languages like this, and you're stepping outside of the realm of static web pages and things like that, you introduce the possibility of some serious bugs, which could definitely lead to serious problems for you and for your server and for your users. Now, for something like this, obviously we're using a SQL database on the back end, so you want to make sure you're thoroughly testing your application. That said, there's really nothing in the database other than chat. We don't have any users or anything like that we have to worry about, but still, you want to make sure you're protecting your users and their privacy. Let's go ahead and we'll make a few more changes. One thing I notice is that when typing a message, you can't press the enter key to send your message. You'd have to hit this send button over here. So one of the great things about ChatGPT is it maintains the context of your conversation. So if you want to iterate on your idea and make changes, you would just talk to it like you would to another developer. Keep it conversational. I would like to be able to press the enter key to send messages to the server. So it quickly made some changes to our JavaScript. Basically, we're listening for the key press event on the enter key. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to copy this code. We're going to go back to our Visual Studio code, go to our script.js, and we're just going to paste right over the entire file. We'll go back to our chat room, refresh the page. Fantastic. So one more thing I noticed is it looks like the chat history is a little backwards. Typically, I'm used to seeing the oldest messages at the top and the newest messages at the bottom. Now I know the issue is because in our code, if you look at our fetch.php, our query says the following: select star from messages, order by timestamp, descending. So basically what this means is it's going to grab everything out of the table and sort it in a descending order. So if we were to change this to an ASC, for example, that will fix our issue. But let's see if ChatGPT comes to the same conclusion. So just as we thought, it's sorting it in an ascending order. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this code. I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to paste over. So we'll go back to our chat room, and as you can see, it's already organized the chat in the appropriate way. So that concludes the first part of this video. I am going to continue to make some changes to this using the same chat that we've already got going, just to show the conversational capabilities of ChatGPT and to show how you can iterate on your own ideas so that you can build an application very quickly as a solo developer. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those below. If you have any suggestions about different features you'd like us to implement, let me know, and stay tuned for part 2 of this video, which I'll be releasing in a couple of days.